Hello, I'm Kineton, the Tech Pro, and today we are going to discuss program slicing, static and dynamic slicing. Remember that program slicing has to do with uh, checking the source code to know what part of the program affects another part of the program. This is normally used in software verification and validation, especially during the maintenance phase. Alright, so let's demonstrate. I think it's going to be clearer when we demonstrate how this works. So let's begin with static slicing. Let's get this thing out from here. Okay, so let's assume that we have a function called sum even. So let's write the pseudocode. We have procedure. Sorry. Okay, so we have this procedure sum even that takes the sum of even numbers. Okay, so we are just going to focus on the pseudocode. We have int n, int sum, and j. Here we have sum equals 0, j equals 2. Okay, then the next line is n is equal to read, that is read from the input, and then you loop while n is greater than 0. You now take the sum equals sum plus j. So j is been initialized to 2 because we are taking the sum of the even numbers. J equals j plus 2. Okay, so and then remember that n is being initialized to 0 by default. So we now, okay, sorry, n has a value, so we have to reduce it. N is equal to n minus 1, and then we end the loop. Okay, then we now print out the inputs. Okay, let's just say write sum. My handwriting is not very good, but alright, so now the question now is, we want to perform slicing. Let's say we want to perform static slicing. We need to choose a criteria to perform static slicing. So let's assume that we want to examine the variable j. It means that our criteria will be something like this. Our criteria will be something like, meanwhile, let's write the general form of the criteria. C is equal to vi, where v is a subset of the program variables, and in our case we are trying to look at j, and then I is a selected statement of the program. Alright, so let's assume 6, where j becomes 6. So the question now is when is the first time j is assigned a value? What is the effect of the loop on j? And then what is the effect of the loop of the variable j on other variables. So now we need to number the program, the lines 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so sorry, we don't actually need this. So 1. Okay, so let's just assume that we begin from the assignment statements. So we say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here I have 7, and here I have 8. So looking at this static slicing criteria, we now have what lines of code affects j. Of course, we now have it to be, let's call it slice equals the first one is 2. Okay, the next one will be 3 because the value of n will affect the number of times j is incremented. So 3. What of 4? Yes, 4 affects it because that is what determines whether j continues to loop. And then the last one will be 6. Sorry. So okay, so just give me a second. There's been a problem with this thing. Alright, so we have 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. Okay, so now if we have this, then it means that we've performed a static slice. So now what it means is that these statements actually affect the variable. Okay, let's just assume another one. This I'm going to allow you to do it. This time is n, and then n7. Okay, so in this case you already know that it begins from, we have this, we have this, and we have this. So the slice will be 3, 4, 7. So I hope you get the idea of how to create a static slice from programs. I'd like to thank you for viewing, and the next lesson we are now going to look at dependence graph of this program. If this has been informative for you, please subscribe and then move on to part 2.